Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to High School Hoops with your hosts, Steve Collins and Jake Stager.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Coach Unplugged. I'm so happy you decided to join us. Before we get started today, I'd like to give a big shout out to our sponsors. First of all, Dr. Dish, the #1 shoe machine in the market. I've said this multiple times. We own 3 of them. I want a 4th and a 5th. My AD's listening to me. But they're so great. They work so well. They're so easy to set up. I think my record is 37 seconds or 32 seconds to set it up. But mention Coach Unplugged, they'll give you $450 off. Mention Coach Collins, they'll take really good care of you. And also go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. This is a one-stop shop for basketball coaches. It's everything you need from a nationally ranked. We won 3 state titles. I think we were just talking recently. We've won over 460 games in our program and lost 130 over the last 20 years. And I think we know the secret sauce to be successful, the roadmap, what it takes on and off the court. So go over and check it out and enjoy the podcast. Bye. All right. Welcome. How long has it been since you've been on? All right. How long is it? When's the last time you were on?
It's been a while. And I need to have you back on mine too, buddy.
Yes. Now that the season post spring break is what I tell most people when they start asking questions about stuff.
Yeah.
I said after April 1, I'm available. So
let's plan on that. You got me today. I'm gonna get you on here.
You reached out after April 1st because it's funny because it's like the season ends and then we have our banquet 2 weeks after the season ends, and then the state tournament, all that stuff. So it's like, and then spring break hits. It's like I never feel like I'm back. A reset happens. I always do. And you got to collect all the gear, and you got to do your exit interviews, and you got to do all that stuff. But that leads into postseason. So what do you do postseason wise? Like, what is your after you lose that last game until maybe summer? What does that look like for your program?
It's kind of ironic. We talked a little bit about it. This year I got the privilege of we finished our season on a Tuesday night, and Wednesday morning, 8:00, I had to talk about Richard Nixon or something like that. So that was a lot of fun. I was a real effective teacher 10 or 12 hours after that.
Never, never am. I know it's horrible, isn't it? It's like,
it was. You
got to put on the happy face in school. I know it's horrible.
Yeah, it stunk. So I think I think the most important thing that you have to do after your season's over is to take care of the immediate jobs that you need to take care of, like your job as a coach. And for me, the way my brain works, I got to get that stuff taken care of. So I want those uniforms in as soon as possible. You know why? Because I hate uniform turn in. So I want to get it done and over with. I just want to take it and have that job done. I think it's important that you get your postseason paperwork done, whether that's your evaluation by your AD, get your all conference, all state paperwork in, if that's the case that you need to do, stuff like that. I think you get if you choose to do a banquet, I think it's good to do some sort of banquet or end of the year type of thing. I think that it's good that you get on top of that and get that taken care of. And I think that you do all of those things before you start worrying about next year. I think the natural inclination, I'm sure you're probably the same way, Steve, you're on that bus ride home after that last game and you're like, next year we're going to do this, we're going to do this, We're going to do this. And you really have to fight not jumping into that because you still have your responsibilities that you need to take care of with this year's team.
Right. What we tell people too is like, there's so much basketball on too. You should don't worry about next season, because I can tell you, myself and my 3 assistants are watching so much basketball now that we basically in our Slack. So that's kind of where we communicate and keep our running thoughts. We're just throwing stuff in there, like, today. So this will tell when we're recording this, but today was the Virginia Furman game. Like, so it's like I wrote something in there like, hey, we got to talk about, like that last 30 seconds. Like, look what Virginia did. If Virginia does it, shoot, our guys will throw a ball. Like, so it's kind of those, or who was it we were looking at? Or a couple of teams are running some offensive sets that we really like. So we want to dive into that. So I think I 100% agree. Before we came out, I was talking about collecting gear and doing all that stuff. But I want there's 2 things I want in postseason. I want closure with my seniors. Because they're leaving the family, like they're going off into the world. They're going off to college kind of thing, literally. So I want closure there. So, and they're the most honest. So this is my advice to coaches that are listening. Seniors will be the most honest with you.
Yeah, because they got nothing to lose now.
They got nothing to lose. Like, they're gonna look at you. So I have sets of paperwork that I have everyone fill out, but then I have senior fill out and I have underclassmen fill out that are coming back. And I think that's important, because then I can follow up with those seniors, because we're on a different level here. Like, I'm helping them find schools. It's like, you're always welcome back, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, Coach, I wish we'd have done. It's like, okay, let's have that conversation. I don't think you get as much truth from the players in the exit interviews for the underclassmen, because you still have something over them.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that and this is based on kind of one of my own kids' experience. I've always said, if you're going to have exit interviews with 1 or 2 kids, you need to have exit interviews with every kid in your program. Because if you say, well, I'm going to meet with Jimmy, Billy, and Bobby, but I'm not talking to Freddie, Pete, and Joe. Right. Well, how does Freddie, Pete, and Joe, that you're automatically telling Fred, Pete, and Joe that they don't mean diddly poo to you.
Right.
And I think those are the type of things that bite you in the butt.
And I have an exit interview with everybody in our program. If you're on my team at the end of the year, I have an exit interview with you. I have them along the season, pre, mid. I have those 2, but if you're on the team, you're going to get an exit interview. And I'll tell you something that we do that's, I think, relatively unique is, so let's say we have, I don't know, maybe 20 kids, 25 kids between our JV and our varsity, probably more than that, probably 30.
Yeah.
And so I have that, and we have 7 coaches and some whatever. And so I have every kid rank those 30 kids from 1 to 30 anonymously.
Okay.
And they have to rank themselves. So Johnny thinks he's number 3, and everybody else in the program thinks he's 17.
Yeah.
That's when the conversation is at a different level. Like, I can tell you, for most of the kids that I had conversations with this year, most people knew who 1 was, 2, 3 was a question, but there were a couple kids that they thought they were 4 and everyone else thinks they're 8 or 9. So then we can have a courageous discussion about, well, why do you think that is? I don't have any problem with you thinking that you're that, but why do you think everyone else feels this way? And what do you think your strength? It's an unbelievably good conversation to have. And it's data driven. It's not me saying you're the 4th best player. It is literally all your friends, all the coaches saying this is what your average is.
We're having and this is a lesson I've learned over the years, Steve. I don't have my exit interviews until after the banquet's over, because sometimes, just as well as I do, you got to have those tough conversations with some kids, and then you go to that banquet and mom and dad are giving you the stink eye, and you're like, oh God, here we go. Here's a minefield.
Yeah, I'm old. I don't care. I already did mine. And it's like, and here's my conversation is I'm going to be honest with you in January. I'm going to be honest with you in March. It doesn't matter. And we know we're being honest.
but mom and dad still aren't going to see,
No.
and my dad told me one time, he said, everybody loves their kid a little bit more than they love everybody else's kid. And that's always stuck with me,
It's
I
true.
mean,
It's true. That's 100% true. And the second thing is, and this is for coaches listening, there's really, if you take a roster of 15 kids, there's probably 2 kids that are happy with their role, maybe 3. And if you're really good, it's 4 or 5. Like if you're really good and everyone's clicking and you're winning every game. But most kids, if they're number 2, they think they're 1. If they're 5, they think they're 3.
Yep.
Like, so, it's like part of it is, I think it's our lesson as teachers to have those conversations, because they're going to be mad. Most of them come back. Like most of them know at some point in their lives. Now, I've had some in 30 years that still think I'm the dumbest thing since, whatever. But most of them,
Collins would have put me in that state championship game, baby.
God, Coach, he doesn't know what he's doing. But most of them, don't I get you started. I had a mother call me on the morning of the state semifinals asking why her son didn't play in the quarterfinals the night before. And he hadn't played all year. She hadn't seen him, and then he was on TV, and then she's calling and complaining. Yeah. Anyway, so it's like, whoa.
Now, but, I will tell you this. One of the differences that you and I have is you coach guys and I coach girls. And girls tend to be a little bit more realistic about where their role is, or at times you have to convince one of my players that they are as good as they are,
or they're better than they are. Like, you're better than them. Yeah.
Hey, Mary, you don't really understand how good you can be. Oh no, I don't know, coach. It's like, no, you got a chance to be really, really good, kiddo. So those are something that you were talking about. And I like what you do there. Here's what I do, and I know this because we're having our first organizational meeting tomorrow morning, and what I put on our.
Do you always do your meetings in the morning? That's an interesting question.
I just put them in, like, I give a couple time slots, like 7:15 to 7:30, 7:30 to 7:45, and then my school starts at 8:00.
Okay.
And then I have a lunchtime, and then I have like 3:15 to 3:30 time.
So you have more than one option.
Yeah, for them to come in and meet individually with me. Yeah.
Individually, but I'm talking about team meetings. When do you do team meetings?
Our school's small enough that we have a time period on Fridays. We call it homeroom. It's a 25-minute time period. And so, I told the principal last Wednesday, Thursday, or whatever, hey, I want to have our first organizational meeting next Friday during homeroom. Is that cool? And so that's how we do it.
So. Okay. So that's, again, for coaches that are listening, I don't want to conflict with work. I don't want to conflict with other sports.
Yeah.
I don't. So
before school's the best.
Yeah. So we're 2,000 kids. So I try to do mine in the morning. First of all, it's a little bit of a test.
Sure.
If I get up and get there on time. And I'll do them at lunch, because everyone has lunch. Like, that's when people make up tests they miss in my class, is lunch. Because you can't say you don't have lunch. Everybody has lunch. You can come in and eat, and you can take the test you missed. But everybody comes. So, but I try to stay away from the after school, just because it's like,
sure. And I don't want to interfere with track right now. For us, it's track, baseball, and that type of thing. Right. So, but on our sheet that we're going to give the kids tomorrow, it's going to be, and I forget exactly how I worded it, but where do you see yourself coming into this summer? And for us, we just have JV varsity. Why do you see yourself like that? And so as they turn those back in, I can kind of, in the same way that you're talking about, have that conversation. Well, hey, Susie, you see yourself as a varsity starter. When you came off the bench for the JV this year, we got to get a little bit more aligned here, and that type of thing. So,
right. And it's also like, literally when they come in, so it's almost like I have like my 3 assistants behind a desk and me, and then they walk in and sit. And it's like they're on like trial or something. But anyway, they sit down, and then the first thing I ask is, tell me something you do really well. And then I let them go. And then I say something you need some work on. And then, so what I want is a conversation. Like, yes, you're really good at a setup 3. But you're 5'7". So how can we get you a floater? Like all the things that, what kept you off the court? What kept you on the court? Those, I want a conversation.
Yeah. Yep.
Usually it has to start with me because they're
Mhm.
a little intimidated, I think.
Yeah.
Stop by Sherwin-Williams and get 30% off select paints and stains May 2nd through the 12th. It's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Refresh your home inside and out with colors that make every space feel brand new. From cozy interiors to stunning exteriors, we've got the perfect shade for your next project. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Especially the younger ones, the JV kids, that type of thing. Yeah. So we'll get that going here, and over the next couple of weeks, we'll do that. Again, we're a small school. You've got 2,000 kids. We've got around 300 to 325 grades 7 through 12 in my school. So yeah.
What division? I forgot what division that is.
In Nebraska, it's C1, so it's right in the middle. In Iowa,
it's in the middle.
It's in the middle. Yeah. So in Iowa, we would be like a 2A school. If so
you'd be 4, I think, in Wisconsin. Like 5 is the smallest, 1 is the biggest. So how many are below you?
3 classes. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a different setup here in Nebraska.
How many classes are there?
We have 6 altogether. So we have Class A, so that's all the Omaha, Lincoln metro schools. B is, and that's where I used to coach at when I was at my previous job. Those are your mid-tier towns, your towns of 10,000 people, 8,000 people, that type of stuff. And then your C1s are and then C2 and then D1 and then D2. So like we have D2 schools that have graduating classes of, I don't know, 14, 15 kids.
So you have 6 and you're 2 million people, and Wisconsin has 5 and we're like 6 million people. That's crazy.
I don't make the rules. I just follow them. I don't.
I know. It's like all these things. It's like, we're almost 6 million. You're almost 2 million. We're 3 times as big, and we have 1 less class than you. That's crazy.
And our geography is part of it. We're
a little bit. Yeah,
part of the state is where anywhere from 2/3 to 3/4 of the state is within probably an hour and a half, 2 hours of the Missouri River. But then we have 5 more hours of state west of that. And it's hard for the smaller schools to co-op when you're the only school in a 40-mile radius, and which is where some of those really small schools are at when you get out into the Sandhills and things like that.
Right. And how do they play then? Is there a
lot of mileage on those buses?
Yeah.
There's, our kids complain about an hour road trip sometimes on a yellow bus, and you'll have kids out in Western Nebraska that have to take 2.5, 3-hour road trips to play a regular season game. And a lot of times they'll play somebody on Friday night, stay overnight, play somebody on Saturday afternoon and come home, and things like that to make it work. But it's a unique setup. Our geography in our state is very unique.
It's very unique. I mean, don't get me started on Alaska. I've interviewed people from Alaska. It's crazy up there. Like trains, planes, and automobiles. It's
well, you got kids flying into.
Oh yeah, they're flying. They literally are flying to games. Yeah, it's crazy because they have to, because it's so far. You put Alaska in the middle of the U.S. Anyway, it's funny. So then, what do you do after the banquet?
We start with the meetings process, and then I really start narrowing down our summer schedule and working. And again, we're a small school, so I have to work with the volleyball coach, cross country, softball, and they have to work with me too. I mean, and for the most part, we get along really well. We work. We basically 2 days a week is winter sports, which is essentially just me, and 2 days a week in the summer it's fall sports, and 4 days a week everybody is responsible. They're supposed to be in for strength and conditioning 4 days a week. So I start doing that. We start talking about that. Our month for our high school program that is dominant is June. So we can't do anything organized until after Memorial Day. So like that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday after Memorial Day, we'll have our team camp, which is glorified practice. And then about once a week, we try to do a team camp somewhere, play other schools in a team camp. try to get in about 4 of those. And so we host one as a fundraiser, and to make some money for the program and to give our kids an opportunity to play. And then we try to go to 3 other places. One of those other 3, we try to do some sort of overnight team bonding type of a deal. Last summer, we went up, and I'm from Northwest Iowa originally. So we drove up and we called it our barnstorming tour. We drove about 2 hours, stopped, scrimmaged somebody, had some lunch, drove another half hour, scrimmaged somebody, stayed overnight in my hometown, went to my dad's house, and we did some barbecue and hung out, got some ice cream, and just did all that. And then we scrimmaged my hometown that morning. And then on the way back to Omaha, or the Omaha area, we're not technically in Omaha, we scrimmaged somebody else and then came home. And we got about 4 scrimmages in about 36 hours or so. And the kids really enjoyed that. So that's something, I'll talk to them. Do we want to do that again? Do we want to maybe go to more of a team camp, go to a University of Iowa team camp or a University of Nebraska overnight team camp or something along those lines? But that's what we're doing through April. It's hard. I know a lot of coaches do spring workouts with their kids. They start maybe around April 1st with some individual work, or you're doing some open gyms. For us, most of our kids are out for track. And I really don't want to step on the toes of the track coach.
Right.
Because and so again, it's that cooperative spirit that you kind of have in a smaller school. A lot of our kids, not all, but most of our kids that have varsity aspirations are going to play AAU.
So you're gonna get plenty of reps. You're gonna get plenty of reps.
Yeah, in the spring on Sundays they're practicing a couple hours with their AAU team. So I feel like that's more than enough. And then when we hit our stuff in June and July, and we roll from there. So,
do you do anything for injury prevention? Because girls is like the hips and the knees and things are a big.
Yeah, and that's where the strength and conditioning stuff, we really have to push that. And that's going to be one of our topics of discussion. Our strength and conditioning coordinator has told me since basketball got over with, our attendance has kind of fallen off some in the mornings for that. So, I'm going to tell our girls, hey, go out and kick butt in your spring sports, but you still need to get in and get into that those strength and conditioning sessions, at least 3 times a week, if not 4 times a week, to not let yourself fall back. You worked really hard during the season to maintain. Now you continue to maintain during your spring. And then when we hit the summer, now we're starting to really gain. We want to put on those gains in the summertime. So that's, and our guys do a really good job with that. Our strength and conditioning coordinators do a really, really good job. They do a great job.
And how far outside of Omaha are you?
Just 10 miles north of Omaha.
Okay.
So we're still in a situation, even though we're a small school, our kids have plenty of opportunities to play AAU. We've got a lot of our kids play with one organization here. It's called the Nebraska D League. But I've got a couple of kids that are playing with some real high level teams that are going to do some traveling this summer, and hopefully they're both incoming freshmen. So hopefully they make me a hell of a lot smarter than I really am for the next 4 years.
Good players do that, don't they? I know.
So we're in a good situation where right now I've kind of got a little bit of the best of both worlds, where we're kind of on this little island, and nobody is really trying to get into our little world, but we could take our little world and go into Omaha and stuff like that. And not only for our high school program, but for our youth program as well. We've one of the things I've really emphasized is we got to take our kids into Omaha. We got to take advantage of this. And if we get our butt kicked a few times,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, you want that.
It doesn't matter, but it's going to make us better. And this year, with our first kind of major group that has gone through since I started, they're in 7th grade. This is my 3rd year, so we started with this group in 5th grade, and they came in and they hit their 7th grade school season when they're playing teams that are of schools that are our size. They were pretty dominant. And so now we can go back to the community and say, hey, this is our first kind of experimental group, and here's the proof in the pudding that what we're doing is really working, it feels like. And so we'll do that with our elementary kids. We'll do camps. We do a 4-on-4 league with our elementary kids in the summer. There's a Gretna, which is kind of on the other side of Omaha. Their high school program organizes a 4-on-4 league, which is great because you can't overcoach 4-on-4. You can't put plays in 4-on-4. If you've got time to put in plays 4-on-4, God bless you. I don't.
I know.
Go out and play, kids, and I really like that for our youth kids as well. So
yeah, I love that 4-on-4, 3-on-3 stuff. You can't hide. You really can't hide. I know. I love that. I love that. So do you give them a break in the postseason?
Absolutely. I really don't want them doing a whole lot of basketball stuff until, I don't know, probably May 1st-ish. I think they need that downtime. I think they need that decompression. And again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I want my kids peaking as juniors and seniors. And in the race to win everything, I'm willing to give up a little bit of time in March and April, and for us in September or August and September and into October, to have them fresh, to have them really ready to go, and not. I don't want them to come to a basketball workout going, it's another basketball workout. I want them coming to a basketball workout going, hey, we get to play some hoops today. We get to instead of me just shooting in my driveway, we get to do something together. Now there's things that we do to hold them accountable on their own time. And we'll start that here in about 3 weeks or so. But organized stuff, I'm okay with them being away.
I think it's almost over organized now in some respects too. It's like you got to get them in, you got to let them play, you got to let them work on their stuff. It's like, and especially with that injury prevention too. It's like they don't need to play. It's just weird. Like they're still developing. They should be working on skills rather than playing. Like it should be almost. By high school, it should be 2-to-1 skill to play. In middle school, it's almost 4-to-1. It should be, and it's not. It's opposite. They're playing all these games, and it's like, oh my goodness, don't get me started on it. I know it's crazy.
Yeah,
I know. So I'm hoping. So it sounds very similar to what we do. And then when school comes back, what do you do do they play volleyball or do stuff in the spring?
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing in the spring. In Nebraska, it's a little bit unique. We play softball, state mandated softball in the fall. So
which you should. We play it in the winter and it's crazy. There's still snow on the ground. Why are we playing softball or baseball in the spring? I know it's crazy.
Yeah. So we and like I said, we're a smaller school. So every one of my basketball kids last fall was either playing softball, running cross country, or playing volleyball. So again, for me, I don't really want those coaches messing with my kids during my season. So I'm really hands off with my kids during their fall sports. And I'm just like, hey, if you can get some shots up every now and then, that'd be great. Around October 1st-ish, we start something in the mornings, 2 days a week. We call it our breakfast club, and they come in at 7:30. They got to make 20 free throws, and they've got 20 minutes to make 20 free throws and 20 jump shots. And then we have a scoring system and team, we divide them up, and we've got a system that we do it. We have a point system. But that's basically it. 2 days a week, come in, make 20 free throws and make 20 jump shots and get the heck out of here. We're not doing anything with cones. We're not doing anything explosive. We're not. They're coming in their school clothes, and that's about all that we do until their fall sports start wrapping up, and then we give them a weekish or so off from their fall sport, and then we start working with kids at that point.
Okay. And how long do you have before your first game?
Not long enough.
Yeah. I think every coach in the world says, yep.
Yeah. 13, 14 practices is what we get. About a little over 2.5 weeks. So
we never feel like it's enough time. I know.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it is, and again, everybody's in the same boat. And again, at our level, our schools are a similar size. So it's not like we're playing some Class A school that's had 15 kids that they've been doing workouts with for 3 months, and they've got every offensive defense in. Most of the folks that we're playing are in the same place that we are. when it comes to that preseason stuff. So you just kind of go. You just got to kind of let it rip, but it does put a lot of value on your those 13 or 14 practices.
I know you got to be. I know, laser focused. I know that's the way I feel in those beginning ones. Unlike February or January, where you kind of things are clicking. I know.
Yep,
They
absolutely.
All right, so let's talk about your clinic. So tell me how it came about and a little bit about it.
Okay. I forget how it came about. I think
I do too.
I think I just said, like, I want to have a coach's clinic. I think that was just kind of the impetus of it. Now it's changed. The first year that we did it, we just kind of did the whole traditional. Well, the first year that we did, let me correct that. First year that we did it, we had like 4 or 5 on-court speakers, and then during lunch we had 2 or 3 classroom sessions, and that was my niche. That was my way of saying it. Not only are we going to watch, but we're also going to have some classroom sessions. Okay. Well, we have a deal here in Omaha called the Metro Coaches Association, and it meets every fall. And I'll be honest with you, Steve, I was there 2 years ago, and I won't say who it was, but it was just god awful speaker. And I don't mean to throw anybody under the bus, but I've been in enough coaches clinics where it's like, good speakers from bad speakers, and it wasn't very good. It's like I just got bored.
Right.
And I told one of the guys, I was like, and you start thinking when you get bored. And I was like, why don't we I'm sitting here, and I was sitting across the table from like Kelly Flynn, who's a good friend of mine. He's won like 12 state championships here in Nebraska. Jerome Skurdlow's run a couple state championships. I'm like, you know what I'd rather do right now? I'd rather just BS with these guys and just pick your mind.
Yeah,
just talk. And so one thing that we added to our clinic last year that folks fell in love with is we keep people moving all day. So we have a 45-minute on-court demonstration. Then we go out and we pre-divide people up into small groups, and we throw out a topic every 15 minutes. And you got 15 minutes to talk about defending baseline out of bounds plays. What do you do? And you've got 5 or 6 coaches that are sitting at this table bouncing ideas off of what they do in their program, off of how they defend baseline out of bounds plays. And so we do that for 45 minutes. We do 3 different subjects. Then we go back in the gym, and we have another gym speaker. Okay. And then we have lunch while people are eating lunch. That's when we do our classroom sessions. And then we come back from the classroom sessions.
And you get to pick your classroom sessions? Because I see there's like 4 of them, right? Like one's like
3, I think. We got 3.
Yeah, there's 3. There's coaching the mental game, development through small-sided games, and then implementing and attacking a 2-3 zone. So I get to pick which one I would want to go to.
Go wherever you want to go, man.
Okay.
I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, just go wherever you want to. And so you got some classroom stuff, you got some classroom time. And then we go back into those small groups, but then I take them and I rearrange them. So you're not sitting with the same people the second time. So you get to talk and get to network with some and hear different ideas from different people. And then we go back into the gym for kind of the last on-court demonstration of the day. Right. And then we're doing it on April 1st, which coincides with the men's Final Four. And we're going to go down to one of our booster, one of our businesses in town. It's a grill, and we're going to go down and eat some food and watch the first game of the men's Final Four and just have everybody kind of relax and socialize there.
Yeah, that's great.
It's all. So it's going to be a full day of hoops that I think is really, really affordable to folks, and it's really interactive. I've really tried to take some of the stuff that we're taught as teachers, how to educate our students. Well, let's apply that to coaching basketball and working with our peers in that regard. So we've kind of got these 3 different ways of learning and getting stuff from coaches to help bring it back to your program.
No, I love that. I love the big on court. Give me some stuff that I can use, then share, and then I get to pick. Like it's a smorgasbord. Like I want roast beef rather than trout for dinner, whatever. I'm going to go to that one. So I'm going to pick one of the 3 that's probably going to be of more interest to me. No, I like that. I love that idea. I think, and I'll put, for people that are listening, I'll put all this stuff down in the show notes for you, so it's super easy. I'll put a link. Awesome. I'll put your contact information, all that stuff down there. So if they want, it's last minute or it's Venmo or whatever, you can make it work. But I love that idea. I think I bet the coaches in the area love. I know you asked me to come talk at it, and it's like, oh, it's spring break, so I got to retire or spring break's got to change, one or the other. Like, one or the other. I don't know which one's going to come first, but
you come down and enjoy this beautiful Nebraska weather today. It's 32 degrees and snowing, so it's wonderful. Yesterday it was 60 and sunny, and today it's 32 and snowing. So but yeah, it's been a good deal. Coaches have really liked it. I've been fortunate enough to bring in some really, really good coaches. One of our speakers, Dick Jungers, we grew up together, and he's won like 4 state championships in Iowa. And we often joke with each other. We both know where the bodies are buried with both of us here, so there's no secrets between us and everything.
Right.
And we got a lot of really good coaches coming in, and there's a lot of really good coaches that are just coming in just to learn. Right. And then you get an opportunity to talk with some of these folks. Like for myself last year, we got a guy in the state, his name's Jim Weeks, and he's won, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 state titles, and he's consistent winner year in, year out. And I look up and there's Jim at my clinic. He snuck in there with his son, but he didn't tell me he was coming. So you could sure as heck bet on one of those breakdown times, those 45-minute group breakdowns. Guess whose table I sat at?
Right.
I sat at Jim's table. I wanted to pick his brain a little bit because he doesn't do these type of things very often. So, it's a really, really good deal for folks to come and check out. So,
make sure you go over and check it out. I'll put all the stuff in the show notes and all of that. So I'll let you get back off to watching more basketball, Coach, but thanks for being on. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Steve, appreciate you, man. Like I said, we're going to get you on a pen and a napkin here in the next month or so.
Yes,
all right, man?
Well, for sure.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.